Well, hi everyone, and welcome to week number 303 of the virtual Cobalt Cafe Poetry Reading Series. My name is Rick Lupert. Happy to have you all here with us um, to participate in our open reading as well as to hear our featured reader, Christian Montealegre. I'm assuming Christian is on his way. Traffic must be um, brutal this time of the internet. So I'm sure he'll be here before it's his turn to read. Um, but that won't stop us from plugging ahead to our open reading. We're going to do 5 open readers first, then we'll have Christian read, and then we'll have the rest of the open reading. If you would like to read and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat. I'll be happy to add you to the list. As always, it's 2 poems maximum in the open reading, and our suggested time limit is less is more. I hope you find that encouraging. So there you go. Um, I believe, oh, yes, there's a couple more things to tell you. Make sure you have the chat room open. The chat room is there so you can interact with each other throughout the festivities since everyone is muted. It's a great place to react to what you're hearing, to send each other important messages, and whatever else that is that you would like to do in there. Post links and things. Everyone likes to click on something, and that's a great place to post something clickable. Finally, we do have a 1 drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. Make sure that you honor that in one way or another. Um, Full disclosure, I'm not really a lush as much as I talk about the 1 drink minimum and all the whiskey I had in Scotland a couple weeks ago. But I need to tell you what happened tonight. It feels important. Before coming upstairs to this room where the cobalt happens, I tend to pour myself my little drink. It's usually tequila. Tonight happens to be mezcal night. They rotate every week. I've had to tell our cleaning person when he cleans that part of the house to not change the order of the alcohol because it just throws everything off and it became a serious problem. Anyway, um, I poured the mezcal into this little jar. It's a cute little jar, isn't it? Don't you think? Just a little thing, right? So, and then there was just a little bit left in the bottle, and I thought, oh, well, I should just finish that off rather than having this little amount there that wouldn't possibly fill up this little jar again next time we come around to it. Um, and I guess my eyes didn't quite judge the amount of mezcal that was left in the bottle correctly. It was almost like a full shot that just went right into my mouth. And mezcal is not something that you shoot, you know what I'm saying? It's really meant to sip. So for a little while, my mouth and throat were on fire as I was trying to determine how to deal with this. So I'm technically, without even having had a sip of this yet, already being influenced by the mezcal from earlier. That really has nothing to do with what's happening tonight. It just may help explain anything I say going forward. There you go. Um, my head is turning into a flower. It sounds like you've had some as well, Richard, if that's what you're seeing at this point. Or you're looking at Siggy's hat and conflating the two things together, possibly Cathabella's as well. I want to say hi to Jeff Stumpo, who's here. I really appreciate he's going to be our featured reader coming up in a couple of weeks, and I appreciate that you're here today checking out the reading. And if you would like to read in the open reading, Jeff, let me know in the chat, and I'll be happy to add you so we can get a little tease of what you're doing. Anyway, before we get to the open reading, up first, which will be the collab, I'd like to ask if there are any questions. Cathabella, yes.
Rick, can you tell us one little story about either a cup, a finger, or your toe, or any toe?
Wow, there's a lot of choices there. A cup, a finger, or a toe.
Oh, that's Amazon.
Those are my choices. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm going to go with the toe option, if I may. Um, uh, the only time I ever broke a bone was when I was living in Syracuse, New York, or technically a suburb of Syracuse. Um, sometime in the late 70s and early 80s, we were having a Cub Scout meeting at my house, and we were playing some kind of game where we were all in a circle, and I had to break out of the circle. And in doing that, I ended up hitting my toe against the leg of a chair that was nearby, and I broke my little toe.
Wow.
So that's basically the entire story. I don't know how entertaining that or interesting that story was,
Well,
but
I
now
think
you know.
it's really interesting the way things come back to you when you have a question like that, and then you kind of relive that experience. It's just the first thing that comes to your mind. It's interesting what it is, and that it's stuck there all that time, right? I think it's fascinating how our minds, and it's emotional too. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, that it's the emotional reaction to the event and the sight that makes it stick in your memory, and it turns into a little story.
Yeah, I guess you're right there. I certainly am appreciative that I haven't broken anything since then. So that's the main thing I think about when I see bones being broken. I don't per se see bones being broken a lot, but occasionally, someone shows up with a broken something or other, and they have their own story about it. So,
Hmm.
all right, well, there you go. That's what I have to say about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cathabella. We'll hear from you guys shortly. Looks like Martin has a question. Hello, Martin.
Good evening, Rick. I also have only ever broken one bone, my collarbone, but that's another story for another time. My question tonight is, I was wondering, have you ever been to the Library of Congress?
No, I've not been to the Library of Congress. I've been to DC a few times and been to many of the other buildings that are famous for things, the ones that are still standing, I should say. Um, but I've not been to that one.
For however long they will be still standing, yes. Yeah, well, it's a wonderful building. You should check it out next time you're here.
Perhaps I will. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll bring copies of my books and see if they'll be willing to take them on the spot. All right. Thank you, Martin, including one I'm cooking up called Poems Against the Regime. Richard, do you have a question?
I do, Rick. And I'm sure you've been asked this before, but you're really asking for it tonight. Who is your favorite Doctor Who
Oh, yeah, look at me in the shirt.
in the
Um,
shirt?
did I tell you last week that I'd seen a number of Tardai in Glasgow?
No, I believe it's Tarday. No, go ahead.
Yeah, wandering around Glasgow, there were TARDISes everywhere. Well, at least I saw three anyway. But my favorite Doctor for sure is David Tennant, number 10, um, with probably Tom Baker being a second because he was my first. Yeah.
I'm still hoping that Chris Eccleston and David Tennant will have a baby, and then that would be my favorite. But Tom Baker was the most alien of all the Doctors. He was the most alien seeming. I watched it from the beginning, but in my 50s. Every episode in chronological order, so that's what's wrong with me. Okay, thanks.
No, I understand that. I before they were available to stream everywhere, I think I found a site where I could download all of them, and I still have the file of, all the episodes that weren't lost on my computer, and I I watched them all until I got to the lost ones when it was just audio, and then I had trouble watching them, and I didn't have the heart to skip ahead.
I pirated pretty much every disc, and I waited for the lost episodes to show up on disc, and then I pirated them.
Well, there you go.
Bye.
By the way, this is being broadcast everywhere, so that's now part of the permanent record. So, Richard, just so you know, we're on your side in case anything comes down. All right, good set of questions, everyone. We are going to go on with the open reading, 5 open readers, and then our featured reader, Christian Montealegre. If anyone would like to be added to the list, let me know. Our on-deck reader will be Christopher T. George. Please welcome now the collab featuring Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie. Hello to
And a
all
little
of
Mariko,
you.
I
Oh, and
think,
Mariko.
since you're starting early. And so you have on the share screen, right? Not yet.
Now,
Okay. Now here we are. Okay. For Cobalt, move this up. Cobalt cups fingers and toes. Cupping my face in his hands. It's dream time of the past and future we share. Dad's fingers, Jackie.
Dad's fingers curled around the handle of a teacup. How brief our leisure compared to our toils.
So beautiful. Mariko.
Who is the pianist in a forest? I know the long fingers since before I was born.
Beautiful. One white clover near my toe in the elegant garden. He picked it, tied it on my finger, and cupped my smile in his hands. Finger food, our favorite when we have wine for dinner. We take turns popping popcorn, mouth to mouth. So cute. Siggy.
Hot and humid. Cup hands in water. Pour over south. Skin steamy from heat. Cooling evaporation.
Sounds so refreshing. Jackie.
Racing our sake cups for the picture. How temporary this intoxication.
Is so exquisite, Jackie.
Thank you.
One finger making ripples in the tide pool. How far can they go? Siggy.
Dancing. My toes on his. No complaints. Bare feet best. With 2 left feet.
Jackie.
Toe pinching shoes. Half a size too small. I wore them to look like Cinderella.
Cinderella, huh? Yes. Jackie.
My fingers curled around the ear of my doll's cup. I felt like the beast in the fairy tale.
Dipping one toe in the old pond, I write my first poem, making ripples with moonlight. Jackie.
I already read this one.
Oh, read it again. That's perfect.
Racing our sake cups for the picture. How temporary this intoxication.
It's It's so beautiful. It feels like it speaks to all of life. You know, it's not just a moment. And Siggy.
Mysterious days. The news brings out enemies, fingered by rumor. Where's the boy bringing in the hose to wash the kitchen floor?
Perfect, Siggy. Thank you so much. And here's Rick with his perfect flute.
It's just a Japanese shakuhachi, made in America, but traditional bamboo flute.
Wonderful. Very long
Relatively long.
and
yeah.
deep
And what?
and deep
And deep.
and songful.
And
Songful.
relatively songful.
Thank you, everybody. We love you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rick and Rick.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
Jackie.
you, everyone.
That's
And
really all
Mariko.
anyone could want out of
And
something
fun
is
to have
for it
Mariko with us.
to be
Yeah.
long and deep. So thank you all for that. Also, I would have to say, I really was enchanted by the line popcorn mouth to mouth, not just the words and image that conjured, but Rick's popcorning of the flute while that was happening. So
Yes,
well done all around.
He did. And he makes the popcorn in the house, by the way.
I'm behind.
Well, you gotta, know what you're supposed to be doing,
Yes.
what your lane is. So good. Glad you have someone for that, Cathabella. Thank you all. Thank you, Cathabella, Siggy,
Thank you, everyone.
Jackie, Mariko, all the way from Japan via London in the San Gabriel Valley, and Rick as well. Thank you all so much. A round of applause to the collab. On deck, Martin Parker, please welcome now Christopher T. George. Hello, Christopher.
Okay. Let me see if I can do my share screen. Okay, here we go. This is one of my favorite poems. Walt Whitman Suite. I came to find my brother. I traveled to the front to find my brother. I found an army of brothers, in truth, 2 armies of brothers. For our enemy, broken and dislimned boys, we also cared for. I clean and dress their wounds, the mini balls, devastation to a shoulder or the stub of a leg. Boys, I know you well. I found me and you, brother of Rochester, Passaic, Missouri, Georgia. In torment, the moon vague behind dark clouds. Oh, such a night to dance with your love. Here time and reverie bloat like a corpse. Peace becomes a limb severed by the surgeon. You lie in our nation's capital on rotten straw. You beg me for water in the monument's shadow in Judiciary Square, below the scales of justice, weighing your lives, weighing what I am for you. I wet your lips with a sponge, your quizzical look, as you wonder who I am, while the shock of death and degradation creep closer. Boy, I will write to your mother. At last light, I will close your eyes. Washington at war. I often see the president, his brown donut complexion, the deep etched lines that reflect the dead that piled up from this war. Corpses floating down river, lost in gullies, in cold unknown graves all across our nation. Ragged corpses, bleached bones, tarnished brass, rictus of grinning teeth. My lodging house on Pennsylvania Avenue smells bad, aroma of cabbage, from the Irish woman's quarters below. I lingered by the bed of a Georgia boy this morning, shot through the lung. Death soothed his brow. I held his hot, soft hand tenderly for an hour. At his request, read to him about resurrection. Now the war is over. The victorious Blue Army marches down the wide boulevards. The president removes his hat in respect to the thousands of troops who parade with battle-worn uniforms. Brass bands, fifes, drums, their regimental flags, tattered memorials to the dead. Each ensign a beautiful woman, heartbroken by battle. 3. Wheeling the prophet to the river. In his wide-brimmed hat and rambling beard, Mr. Whitman revels to be out in his kale chair, headed for Camden Wharf, if aging, recovering from stroke. I push him over the uneven brick, sidewalk rimmed with frost. Our breath starts ahead of us. It's an effort for him as much as for me. His thin legs jiggle jance under the plaid blanket. Soon we are overlooking the Delaware River. The aroma of sawn pine suffuses our nostrils. He says, "Breathe the scent, devour the river air." Walt Whitman, I nurse you now as you nursed others. He mumbles an oft-told memory of his youth. A wonderful story, sir. He wafts his hat to a baritone sawmill worker who calls, "Sing, prophet!" We hunger for song. Thank you.
Christopher, wonderful work. Thank you so much for that. I wet your lips with a sponge right off from the beginning. Got me going, and just what we needed to get the popcorn off of our lips as well from the previous set of poems. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Christopher T. George. On deck, Melody Anderson Bermides. Please welcome Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Great to see everybody here tonight. Got a couple poems here. The first one is a short one I made recently called Colors. Colors bright as the light in her eyes pass by these windows in my mind, from when we roamed through green forests with ease and paddled across crystal blue lakes serene. The one high has now abandoned me, restricting access to cerulean sea, and travels through the rosy air. The silver in her eyes is always there. And this one's a little bit longer. As the habit has been lately, I went to find a cover poem about colors, and I came across this very interesting poem, another poem by Amy Lowell that I think I read a cover of a few weeks ago. But this one is about colors and the Library of Congress, or as she called it over 100 years ago when this was published, the Congressional Library. The earth is a colored thing, the red clays and the umbers and salt grays of the mountains. See the clustered and wandering greens of plains and hillsides, the leaf greens, bush greens, water plant and snow greens of gardens and forests. See the red of flowers, hibiscus, poppy, geranium, the rose red of little flowers, mayflowers, primroses, the harlequin shades of sweet peas, orchids, pansies, the madders, saffrons, chromes of still waters, the silver and star blues, the wine blues of seas and oceans. Observe the stars at nighttime. Name the color of them. Count and recount the hues of clouds at sunset and at dawn. And the colors of the races of men, what are they and what are we? We, the people without a race, without a language, of all races and of none, of all tongues and one imposed, of all traditions and all pasts, with no tradition and no past, a patchwork and an altarpiece, vague as sea mist, myriad as forest trees, living into a present, building a future. Our color is the varicolored world. No colors clash, all clash and change. And in changing, new colors come and go and dominate and remain, and no one shall say which remain. Since those that have vanished return, and those no one has seen take the light and are. Where else in all America are we so symbolized as in this hall? White columns polished like glass, a dome and a dome, a balcony and a balcony, stairs and the balustrades to them, yellow marble and red slabs of it, all mounting, spearing, flying into color. Color around the dome and up to it, color curving, kite flying to the second dome. Light dropping, pitching down upon the color. Arrow falling upon the glass bright pillars, mingled colors spinning into a shape of white pillars, fusing, cooling into balanced shafts of shrill and interthronging light. This is America, this vast, confused beauty, this staring, restless speed of loveliness, mighty, overwhelming, crude of all forms, making grandeur out of profusion, afraid of no incongruities, sublime in its audacity, bizarre breaker of molds, laughing with strength, charging down on the past, glorious and conquering destroyer, builder, invincible pith and marrow of the world, an old world remaking, whirling into the no world of all colored light. But behind the varicolored hall, the entrails, the belly, the blood-run veins, the heart and viscera, what of these? Only at night do they speak. Only at night do the voices rouse themselves and speak. There are words in the veins of this creature. There are still notes singing in its breast, silent voices whispering what it shall speak, frozen music beating upon its pulses. These are the voices of the furious dead who will never die, furious with love and life, unquenchable, dictating their creeds across the vapors of time. This is the music of the trumpeters of the Almighty weeping for a lost estate, sounding to a new birth, which is tomorrow. Hark, this hurricane of music has no end. The speech of these voices has neither end nor beginning. They are interriven as the colors of the sky, over the graveyards of 10,000 generations. When we are as Nineveh, our white columns thrown and scattered, our domes of color striped with the crawling of insects, spotted with the thrust of damp clay. Our words, our music, who will build a dome to hive them? In whose belly shall we come to life, a new life, beyond submergence and destruction, the implacable life of silent words, of tumultuous stillness of never-ceasing music, lost to being that so it may triumph and become the blood and heat and urge of that hidden distance which forever whips and harries the static presence of mankind. Sorry if that was a little bit long, but I just was so overwhelmed by that poem and all the different directions it goes and everything. I just had to share it. Thank you so much.
No apology necessary, Martin. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. Glad to know what's been affecting you so it can affect us a little bit too. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Martin Parker. Two more readers than our featured reader, Christian. On deck is Jeffrey Bryant. Please welcome Melody Anderson Bermedius. Hello, Melody. Are you there, Melody? All right, I'm not sure where Melody is, so we will skip ahead to Jeffrey Bryant. Hope you're ready, Jeffrey. Please welcome Jeffrey Bryant.
A little scotch there, sir. So the sneaking into it.
Technically
Anyway,
mezcal.
technically, oh well, that's better. I am going to read two poems from a chapbook called She Oak by a dear friend, Linda Goyne. She's a poet in Kentucky, and she turns out we discovered we were fifth cousins once removed this year. So, how do you like that? Her book is called She Oak. I'll post a link in the chat. This is called Earth Day Mudra. She places her ear against his ribs, far from his heart beating within that cavernous chest, and hears how strong he is in that moment. The urge to leave is powerful, but she wants his ability to vibrate bone, his method for making blood murmur as it courses through well-worn paths, his pulsing familiarity. He is her volatile star, a nova that spirals in and out of her space. Her steady practice of Prithvi Mudra strives to replace him, removes flaws she feels without him, provides terra firma, a way to place her ear on more loving ribs, to know how this earth now yields to her. The second poem is called Trust Again. She leans back in her chair to watch as the sun rotates around her. She busies herself with psychic storms, rain, heavy floods, automatic writing. Then asks her guides about the length of a turn it takes to trust again. She lists 3 times she knew something intuitively rather than depending upon another person's slant opinion. She remembers the steamboat of sensuous amusements that he capsized with his anger. Slowly, she buries her feet in the sand of an imagined beach, and she begins to breathe like a tree, only deeper, drawing down those spirits who work harder than most. That's Linda Goyne, She Oak. I'll put her information in the chat. Thank you.
Jeffrey, thank you. Very cool of you to use your time to read the work of others. We all know how stellar your work is, so very cool to see what's moving you and inspiring you to create the stuff that you write. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. On deck after our featured reader will be Ken Scott, which leads us to our featured reader, Christian Montealegre. Christian, welcome. Glad you're here tonight. Christian is a sometime regular here at Cobalt Poets. That's how he got on my radar. He has a really beautiful story about how he came to poetry. First of all, he was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia, moved to the States when he was 17, finished high school, college. He has a new life here, and with a double major in communications and Spanish literature. He does work in broadcasting, film post-production, translating of work between Spanish and English, project management. So he's got his fingers, his toes in a lot of pools, as it were. But the cool thing, I think, is how he came to poetry, in that when he was a child, he discovered poetry in his mother's journals when he was a young kid, and that inspired him to write his own work and continue to do so as an adult, which is, I assume, what eventually brought you here, Christian, to us at Cobalt Poets, and ultimately what led to this featured reading spot. So really glad that you're here. Thanks so much to your mother as well. Please welcome our featured reader, Christian Montealegre.
Hi, Eric. And hi, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for that nice intro. And yeah, it's I think poetry does run in my veins, and definitely a poet. I was meant to be one, and you'll see, I mean, you'll hear why. Definitely through my poems, I think. And yeah, absolutely. I think I connected to poetry through that time with my mom. And I think as a good emo kid, I, found writing to be a great avenue to express my feelings. And so yeah, and thank you, Rick, for the opportunity to be a feature reader. I would have not put myself forward, and so I appreciate you reaching out and asking me to do so. And this exercise of actually presenting to a group, this is actually my first time ever. I like to joke and say that I'm a download, poet. I don't really tell people that I write poetry. I don't go to like open mics or anything like it. I think anyway, I'm just gonna go on a tangent on that, but this was a great opportunity for me, because then it just allowed me to go through like my notebooks, and I actually have a lot of writing. There's a lot of writing done in Spanish, so I think that was just more of a revelation to myself that I've done a lot of work in Spanish, and of course I cannot share a lot of that here, unless please raise your hands if you're bilingual in Spanish. So I'll save that for another time. But I think the first poem that I wanted to share, and which I translated, is when I wrote it when I was 14 years old. So the title that I gave it is A Word from the 2000s, 30 Minutes Past Midnight. You and I and the universe. The moon is tiny and cold tonight, and she will be a witness of our heated passion. In the meantime, stars between the clouds decorate our red-hot love with their shine. I hope Mother Rain ate our bang with her loud thundering cries, and make tonight what you and I were hoping for. So I wrote that when I was 14, and I think for sure it was one of my first poems. And I, of course, was falling in love with a boy. And what a best way to, describe that, but but in writing. Okay, so I started with that. So let's see what I want to go with next. Okay. I read this one to you guys before, and yeah, I mean, I think my theme is definitely love. So this one is called A Temporary Love Letter. I feel a stunning gravitational pull towards you. Smooth sounds between Espanol and Inglés go between us. I feel defenseless to your insinuations. I want to crack myself open like a brown egg. I cannot blame my intrepid infatuations. I cannot tame them. I can only let them run around the room until they get tired and they're panting and fall asleep again. I tiptoe around them without triggering them awake, pulling their weight against the shaking ground. After all, a broken, upset heart is a dangerous pit. I hold my breath and keep silent. I think about how the politics of love can be lousy games of power and control, miscalculations that turn into annoyances on thin glass egos. I feel ravenous, misguided by my controlling heart. I think aloud, I want him now, I want him back, I want him again. I want him now despite my cynicism to be accountable, despite my rooted stubbornness, which is starting to rot deep in the soil. I cannot stick my finger into the cassette and rewind the past and play a new version in the stereo, just like I cannot drive forward looking only at the rear view mirror. Feeling love has delivered conundrums that tangle me like exhausted gum chewed in my mouth and played over with my fingers. Along Together from Chet Baker plays in the radio. Love cuts deep. A longing is a desire that tastes like spaghetti with melted butter, craving for more forever. Looks can be deceiving. Vampires are kinda sexy until they tell you about their loneliness. Okay. This next poem that I wrote back in 2024. It's an untitled poem, and it goes like this. Tied up in a definition, the poet will always wonder, who am I? They are born with a brave heart to watch and paint with words. Estimado poeta, dear poet, resucita, mi vida aclama tu cantar. Rise from the dead, my life claims your singing. Extraña de ti la visión de un futuro apasionante. It misses your vision of a thrilling future. Extraña el fervor de tus ilusiones. It misses the fervor of your wishful thinking. Y el color de tus pinturas, and the color in your paintings. Engage desire because it wants love, because it wants to devour it whole. Desire is the shirt a poet wears proudly to look at life directly in the face. Oh, silly rabbit, you're a foolish, childish devil of this messed up world. Are you in my bones, a part of my soul? I must press my thoughts to the ground, rub them against the wet soil, let them filter through for a nice tall glass of purified water. Necedad, stubbornness, may show up to the door. Don't answer. My dear poet, I know you might recoil to the truth, drool over your penmanship skills. Allow yourself to rekindle your love-hate relationship with practice. Without her, you have no chances. Okay. All right, this next one is called The Advice Store. Down the street, they opened this new store where they sell advice with no guarantees. You leave with a white paper bag containing a tiny vial of liquid wisdom and hot chicken noodle soup. I go in to get my bag. I'm wearing a penchant for love around my neck. It is tied to a silver chain I bought at a local farmer's market in downtown Los Angeles. I tell the clerk I'm easily seduced by the perfume of infatuation, that I am a hopeless romantic with a love disorder, that I'm a serotonin junkie who likes sugar-coated fluffy donuts and a fistful of gummy bears all at once into my mouth. He doesn't say a word, just stares blank. His upper lip slightly moves like a tingle of acceptance of a known fact. But he doesn't want to show it. He knows what I need, I presume. He turns around and goes to the back room. I wait until he comes back with an emerald green vial in his hand. He puts it in the bag and reminds me, "You know our store policy, right?" I nod. I turn around to leave, and just before I exit out the door, he yells, "The soup is really good today." Thanks. All right. This one is called My Cousin Diana. I understand her desire to escape to another continent, a new place away from her sad life. She wants me to cover the plane ticket, a lottery ticket, I should say, to a new life with no guarantees or protections, another roll of dice to help her cluelessness. If I had the vasts of money cozied up in a cabinet, I would be reckless and I would just give it to her, tied in a red ribbon, in a note in an elegant parchment that says, here you go, and leave me alone. Reality is sadly more like an unsavory tea in lukewarm water. There are no wads of cash like Uncle Scrooge daily gold coin swing, which will leave terrible bruises and a few bloody noses from each dive in. No, it's murkier waters to thread family matters. Who wants to stick their arm into the hot soup pot to reach for the spoon? If I were rich, I would get into the addictive sport of fixing people. In dark days, I think of my cousin as a mother with Munchausen syndrome. Okay. This next one is, as I think I was obviously just gathering the poems that I was going to share tonight, I kept running into a lot of loose stanzas. And so I decided to put them all together. And this poem is called Loose Stanzas. Her tongue had too many knots already. Grandma was always exhausted and only knew how to yell. Her flock grew up with short wings. Some did their best and others did not amount to much. Excess and absence, like a transmutation, they coexist. One is at the edges, while the other one lives in the center. There's a storm brewing in my head, and thunder grows like a bad burrito in my stomach. And there are sometimes empty words like stale popcorn to the palate. I haven't shed tears, and I haven't mourned properly by raging howls. My ducks are constipated. My ego can be like a bruised sugar cookie left on the table unattended. It turns sour by the dry air of your negligence. My ego is a crying baby asking for milk. My ego is prissy legs wearing fishnets. Had it not been for that heavy swat from a scared human, that disassembled bee on the floor would still be alive, doing God's work. Fear can be like that towards dreams. We might lose hope constantly, but I like to remind myself that deep down, there's moonlight in the river. Okay, so that was that. Blue stanzas. All right. How much time left do I have, Rick?
Probably a couple minutes, I think. We're just at the 15 minutes ish mark. So
Okay. Oh wow. That went fast. I think I'll let's see what I want to share next, because I actually ended up having more than I thought. So that's good. I will then sorry, just trying to pick one. Okay, this one is called Passion. I stare into his hand sitting next to mine. I touch them with my eyes. I follow the lines of his palm moving into mine. The warm breathing of our pores lingers as time moves on. Hopeful Romantic plays on the radio, leading the Hot Billboard 100. A phrase, an expressive move, a sigh would fill my cup. Admiration would be the garnish. Part of me wants to wait eternity until you come back into my arms and become a fable. Obsessions grab you by the neck, choking you out of breath like a kinky play. The music is on. This transaction will go on carbon copy in an email. Whitney Houston anthems play on the background. Silhouettes stick to positive ions. Fears rapace, an instinct that males drawn upon me. Male passion, a human characteristic that is disregarded, that is danced upon. Nature at its peak, steam of testosterone. Its dominance, 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 a key response. Okay. And I'll end with this one that I sort of wrote recently, and it's called Beardless. I don't have that chiseled beard like this Latino prince I'm staring at right now. I know it's a rock and roll / cool / latte Spanish, Mexican color skin, a combination of exuding beauty destined to cause fantasy and curiosity. He's got tattoos in his arms, wearing a head bandana, and wearing black rim, circle glasses, like a cute Harry Potter made in Mexico. He's working on his biceps with 2 kettle weights while biting on his cheeky lower red lip, playfully sticking the tip of his tongue to one corner, like he knows what he's been granted. He's got a rabbit and a horseshoe tattoo on his left elbow. I keep staring, and he knows it. How do painters draw their muses without being a perv? Okay, I'll end there because I got more, but thank you for your time. This was really, really great to share my work with you guys.
Christian, thank you so much. I don't think you can legitimately call yourself a DL poet anymore. I think you're out. And if we have any responsibility for that because of your time here, because of this reading, then we gratefully accept that. So congratulations on crossing that line. Very excited to hear that this is your first featured reading. It reminds me of uh, the in-person Cobalt reading went on for 21 plus years or so, and a number of people who went on to do all kinds of great things had their first featured reading at Cobalt. So you're participating in a great tradition by having your first featured reading under this banner. I love the concept of loose stanzas for all kinds of reasons. Very cool that you put that poem together from those. And I think the line that you said was "My ducks are constipated." I hope I heard that right. And it just got me.
Ducts, ducks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Not my ducks, but you see,
So you,
this is where my accent it gets me in trouble.
yeah, because I was about to buy you some Quackamucil, but I guess I can't legitimately go in that direction if it's that kind of duct. So never mind on all of that. But well done, nice job. Your mother would be proud. Um, Pasting some stuff in the chat, and I'm going to share the screen to show the broadside I made for the poem that you sent me. There it is. People can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. Hope you'll consider tipping Christian for his reading. There's a Venmo ID pasted there into the chat that you can do that. Same thing as putting money in a hat that gets passed around at an in-person featured reading. So that's how we compensate our featured poets and thank them for their reading. And you get to have this cool broadside as a gift for doing so as well. So there you go, Christian. May you have many more featured readings and continue to craft poetry until someday your children discover it in your journals and get inspired to do the exact same thing. Well done. Round of
Thank you very
applause.
much.
Sure. Round of applause for our featured reader, Christian Montealegre.
Yeah, thanks to all of you. Yeah, this Zoom meeting is what made it happen, and thanks to you and to everyone who attends. Like, you've kept my inspiration going, and actually, ever since COVID, this is how I found the Zoom meeting. And I've been a member ever since. So I'm really happy to be here.
And we're happy to have you. Yeah, that's when we started up the Zoom series, right when we all got locked down and found each other, as it were. Okay, Christian, thank you very much again. I will quickly mention that next week our featured reader is Dana Weeks. Dana is a poet who came to Cobalt once before to support another featured reader. And she's on the docket for next week. She's a Washington State poet, Washington, D.C. area poet, and as well as an activist and a writer, podcaster, etc. So looking forward to her next week. That leads us now to the rest of tonight's, open reading. Here's who I have on the list. Ken Scott, Richard Loringer, Heidi Casa, Melody Anderson Bermidi, so I think is now back at the mic, so we'll try her again, and me. If anyone else would like to be added to the list, please send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you. As a reminder, it is 2 poems maximum, less is more is the suggested time limit. Richard Loringer, you're on deck. Please welcome our next reader, Ken Scott. Hi, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Got 2 pieces. The first piece that I'm going to do is a reflective piece that deals with how men and women communicate. This piece is called "The Only Healing She Needs." Listen. Just listen. When a woman speaks, deep oceans of feeling, endless galaxies of experience. Just listen to her heart, the one who is truly speaking. Only your heart can hear hers. She's not looking for some chivalrous troubleshooting, nor the prowess of manly problem solving. She's seeking connection, a communion of profound feelings, a harmony of lived experiences, oneness of hearts, a sublime bond so woefully ignored by patriarchal societies of cold intellect and self-entitled arrogance. There are times when listening is the only healing she needs. That's that one. The next piece that I'm going to do is about quantum entanglement and the law of attraction and how it relates to planting seeds. And therefore, this piece is called The Seed of Quantum Entanglement. Quantum entanglement between inner visualization and lived experience is like planting a seed. You water it with your emotions of gratitude, appreciation, and peace. And you give it the sunlight of steadfast trust. You never dig it up to inspect its growth, since unearthing it would kill it. Likewise, constantly pursuing it, working hard for it, and inspecting it at every turn affirms the subconscious frequency of lack. And that affirmation will kill the seed and keep you unfulfilled. Stop trying. Start being. Stop doing. Start allowing. Stop pursuing. Start trusting. Walk with gratitude, appreciation, and peace, always rejoicing in the desire fulfilled, always rejoicing in the fruit harvested. Just because the earth is still and nothing has emerged from the ground, that doesn't mean the seed is not growing. Always allow the subconscious frequency of wholeness to prevail. That's it, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you so much, as always, for your work tonight. Thank you for being here. Round of applause for Ken Scott. On deck, Heidi Casa. Please welcome Richard Loringer. Hello, Richard.
Good evening, everybody's. And yeah, I'm going to share two pieces. I did this last week too, but two parts from this Crown of Sonnets that I accidentally wrote last month. And just to remind, it's, that's a series that in order of 15 sonnets, all, that sort of like one long poem, but I'm not going to try to claim that and read for 15 minutes. I'm just going to read two of the sonnets. And they're number 5 and 6, so you kind of break in the middle, and the whole piece is called Breaking Crown. And it's kind of about what the fuck to do with our broken culture right now, I guess, or however you want to put that. Anyway, here's two sonnets. This is numbers 5 and 6. They go in order. Show us a path we can blaze, bone pain and sediment, the channels we fear from our nuclei outward to dermis and dream. Fear, that's the ticket, the wile, the spark, catapult obstacle, indolent harpy stuck like a chip in our temporal lobe, begetting inertia that freezes our instinct, begetting obeisance that soothes like a rose, begetting obsequious chortles and stammers, drowning the cries of our neighbors in puddles, blurring the vista we'd rather not see, crusting us over in oils and ghee. Perhaps It's the opportune time to inquire, what exactly are we? And this is number 6 that follows that. What exactly are we? Angel silhouettes in a nuclear flash, or adult mammals whirling in a pool? Are we controlled or in control? Are we wisp, cruel figment, or immeasurable jest? One thing's for sure, we have a wistful crown that fetters joy and will kill for it. We have a crown dilemma. We have a head that yearns for treasure. We have a brain that lusts for dope. We have a crown that fears the hole in its cap and has sealed it with molten blood. We must break that crown. That's 2 of them for tonight.
That's a bold thing to say in the middle of a sonnet crown. Richard, unrelated question. Have you been to the L'Orangerie Museum in Paris by any chance?
I've never been to Paris, no.
Well, you should go because your last name is almost the complete name of that museum. You just add an I and an E, and I'm sure they'll give you a discount once you reveal that to them.
They better, yeah. Like just like the Sagrada family, the church in Barcelona will let you in free if you have the first name of their patron saint, and I'm forgetting which one that is. But if you have like this one saint, this certain first name, you get in for free to La Sagrada Familia.
Which reminds me of
I don't think it's Rick.
It's probably not. There's a little chapel in Edinburgh Castle, where if you have the same first name as the person who's it's named after, you are allowed to get married in that chapel for free. So there's a whole lot of opportunity out there that people should be taking advantage of. Anyway, I recommend the L'Orangerie, the
Thank you.
Richard L'Orangerie, which you will find in Paris. Huge paneled water lilies, Monet water lilies there. It's a very unique place to
And
be.
free oranges, I assume, since that's what the name means.
Quite possibly.
Okay.
Quite possibly. Richard, glad you're able to spend some time with us. Thank you for being here tonight. Round of applause for Richard Loranger. On deck, Melody Anderson Bermides. Please welcome now Heidi Casa. Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everybody. I have 2 tonight. My favorite fly. My favorite fly sends messages by telegram, telling me quietly he's still here, under the window, never exiting, which could be annoying, but he alone never misinterprets my poems. Though I do have to stop enveloping everyone and everything, winged creatures included, into a circle of caring. I wonder how I can become his equal. This nagging sound actually a gentle pat on the head of what listening sounds like before the outside creeps in. We each have a message, whether a buzz or a tick, and I hear in his, "Don't kill me," and "Haha, you can't catch me." And again, I marvel at imagination's reach, stretching past the years to my 15-year-old self, smashing a fly on the restaurant window with my hand, everyone aghast and admiring my reflexes. My imagination of that time stunted, or were my listening skills lacking? That fly had nothing to say, but this one, oh, he sends me a novel, one line at a time, across far distances. And this one is History Drafts Death. History writes a draft and calls it finished, while my daughter writes a draft on her first of many state tests, and I sit atop a pile of drafts, wondering how I'll tunnel out. The latest boss of the bosses drafts those with few choices for another war and calls it freedom and protecting freedom, while my daughter drafts sweet notes to her friends, as she's protected by the draft sweeping the country, And the drafts still pour from the kegs at all the favorite bars, while overdrafts happen at the largest banks. And many eyes are still hooked on sports drafts announcements. And I'm teaching my daughter not to just drift in someone's draft in the race, but to take a breath in gentle drafts between trees so that we can live. We can all live in the meantime. Thank you.
Heidi, thank you. Beautiful poem there. Regarding the fly one, I'm wondering how long you've known this fly, because I just checked and flies live 15 to 30 days. So is this a fly from the past or a current fly or what,
I mean, it was a current fly. I was trying to be not annoyed with it. But it's hard, right? It's hard
So,
to
so
not want to kill
you were seeing the Buddha in the fly.
it. Trying to see the Buddha in the fly.
That's great. Well, I hope as other flies come along, especially as the months progress and years, that this fly will still hold the important position it does for you, and that your daughter can learn from that as well.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Round of applause for Heidi Casa. Jennifer Elise Wang, you are on deck. Please welcome Melody Anderson Bermides. Hello, Melody.
Hi there. I wrote a tanka, which is like a haiku, but it's longer. 57577 syllables. And this is called Meow Meow. My calico cat, brown, black, white, with gray on her tail. Meow meow, she cries her name aloud. My best friend sleeps with me nightly. Thank you.
All right, Melody, well done. Thank you for sharing that with us. Always appreciate short poems and the impact that they have. A round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermides. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, so I've got two. The first is a new one that I wrote for an online, or not online, an in-person open mic that was Pride themed, and it's non-binary day, so I thought this was appropriate. This is You're Not Like Other Girls. You're not like other girls, should set off red flags, but I feel the fireworks, euphoria of finally being seen. Still, I question whether I'm actually a pick-me girl rather than not a girl at all most of the time. It's the most which casts doubt, proposes that I want male privilege rather than a masculine identity. Do I struggle with the girl's day out because society told me to equate femininity with frivolity? I know it's me and not them when I can't connect with the squad, but is this me less queer than I think? Are my dream theater roles men because they're written better? But my sadness has always been the boy sort seen on stage. While that may remain the fault of writers, girl seems more a part to play, a daily drag I put on, and I keep getting bad reviews. The first time a boy told me, "You're not like other girls," I was in 5th grade. The eggs that were not yet ready to be released were already cracked. And my second poem, I think I was going to do an angry poem because I've been dealing with stuff, but break your shirt kind of inspired me to end on a happier note. So this is my tribute to David Tennant and the 10th Doctor. 10. You were not my first doctor, but the one I hold closest to my single heart, which you won over with your 2 and all the feelings that could not be contained in them. My therapist friend diagnosed you with mania after a single episode. Had he seen more, he'd probably add depression and anger issues, but being too much and showing it in those doe eyes and dancing eyebrows and in the over enunciation of words with too much teeth sometimes is why you felt more kin than the human in my life. I'm told to not confuse character with actor, but you are an entity who traverses across time and space, so why not realities as well? I'd like to think that you'd also wear a non-binary pride pin on the lapel of your iconic pinstripe suit and paint the TARDIS pink, blue, and white if it meant saving even just one human life.
Yay. Jennifer, thank you so much. I love that. David was my favorite Doctor for sure. Glad he landed that way for you. I don't know if you were here earlier. I don't know if you'd arrived yet, but I'd mentioned that I'd saw 3 TARDISes in Edinburgh when I was there a couple of weeks ago. None of them worked. Otherwise, I would have been back sooner. But thank you for that. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Jennifer Lee Swang.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close out the open reading with 2 poems. I've had sitting in my inbox the prompt from Silver Birch Press, who publishes a poem every day for months at a time based on a theme that they produce. And I've written a lot of poems that I'm happy with based on their prompts over the years. And I haven't written this one yet, but their current prompt is to write a poem about advice that you got from someone. The best advice you ever got. And so the other day when I was sitting down to look at this prompt again, and I still haven't written this poem, a crow showed up in the little where I could hear it outside and just started distracting me. And so I wrote this poem instead. It's called Advice from a Crow. The best advice I got from a crow was, caw. I don't speak crow, so I'm not sure what it was saying, but it felt caw important. I don't beak crow, black crow, toe, caw. Beak, black, caw, caw, caw. That's the first poem. The second poem I wrote for this week's Torah portion. This week starts a new book of the Torah, Devarim, which means words. This poem is called All the Words. All the words I have spoken have been on the west side of the Jordan River. I am a descendant of the ones who perished in the desert, whose feet never touched the promised ground, whose immediate descendants waded across and spoke their words. I have spoken my words on the promised ground. I even had a dalliance of two in the middle of the river. I've spoken my words on its mountains at sunrise on Har Herzl when we remember those who spoke their words. I have spoken my words in the marketplaces and on chartered buses. I have spoken them to the cats in every city there, to the shopkeepers on Ben Yehuda Street. Name a city between the river and the sea, and I have spoken my words there. I'm taking that phrase back. The river and the sea exist for our words. Moses spoke them before we ambled in between that space. Nachman screamed them in the forest. It's your turn now. Say them often and loud. Say them to whoever will listen. Say them to your children and their children and their children. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies and gentle them, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you again, Christian, for being a fantastic featured reader. Again, truly excited, honored, and blown away that this was your first featured reading. Glad that we got to do that. for you. Pasting the stuff in the chat I pasted earlier. Please consider tipping Christian for his reading via the Venmo address that's there, and you can download his broadside at the Cobalt Poets website at the link I just posted as well. Once you're there, of course, if you're not on our email list, click on email list and you can add yourself and get the emails that go out Sunday morning and Tuesday afternoon, letting you know who's reading with a convenient Zoom link. You can also click on calendar there and see who's coming up. As I mentioned earlier, Dana Tennille Weeks will be our featured reader next week. That is everything I have to tell you at this point. So I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button so y'all can say hi to each other. Hello, all.
Hi to each other.
Now,
Hello,
Steve,
everyone.
do it.
Thanks for the reading, Christian. It was great.
Excellent feature, man.
Thanks,
Excellent
guys.
feature.
Thanks,
We
Eddie.
should have the collab start off every week. It was fabulous.
That was so good tonight, collab.
Thank you so much. You're so encouraging.
Can we hear?
And Christian, do you actually live right next to the Golden Gate Bridge?
I don't.
Oh, because it looks like you're on. I thought you're on your back porch or something. Yeah.
I'm walking on it right now.
The Melody had the same thing in her background when she was here.
Oh yeah.
She zoomed out. She's not here anymore.
I thought maybe they were roommates.
You know that Zoom's I hate that Zoom only gives me like two options as background. It's either that or like the world, like it's just like a weird background. So
You can add your own backgrounds if you want, or let me know if you want me to make you one. I've got a couple I've made myself.
ooh. That'd be nice. Yeah, for some reason I have not figured out how to add more to it.
You can just Google it. It's not too hard.
Congratulations, Christian, on your debut. Beautiful work.
Yes,
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you guys.
Yeah,
And I had more. I
reading.
was concerned. Thank you. I was concerned that I didn't have enough poems, and I ended up not getting to read many more that I have. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that I have more material to read in the next few weeks.
Come back, yes.
And on that note, I gotta get ready for work myself. So good night, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, Ken the poet.
Thanks, everyone. Great to hear all of you again.
Dinner
Great
time.
work
Nice to see
tonight.
everyone. Mhm.
All right, bye everybody. Great job.
thanks everyone.
Thanks, Rick. Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Have a good time in town, Mariko.
Thank you. Good night.
Nice to meet you, Mariko.
Nice to
Mariko.
meet you. Yes, yes. Nice to meet you. And good night.
All right, bye everybody.
Love you.
Good night.